How much of what was said on stage last night in the heat of this debate was true, and what, if anything, might have been embellished or otherwise not quite on the money? For those answers, let's bring in Aaron Sharockman, the executive director for PolitiFact. So, Aaron, thanks for being with us. Let's right off the bat, let's go to immigration. A lot of talk about that last night. Former Vice President Mike Pence referencing his time in the White House during the Trump administration, saying, quote, "Despite what's said here today, we reduced illegal immigration and asylum abuse by 90%. That's a startling claim. What do you make of that?
Well, Terry, if a number sounds too good to be true, it probably is. This is a number Pence has used a lot, this 90% drop statistic, but he's never really explained where it's come from. When you actually look at the data, and frankly, as a fact checker, the data is a little messy because we started counting encounters at the border a little differently during COVID. When you start at the start of the Trump-Pence administration and go to the end of the Trump-Pence administration, you actually find a 300% increase in illegal immigration encounters along the border. So that's certainly not a 90% decline. Now, if you go and you give him the highest benefit of the doubt, and you compare data from May 2019, so pre-pandemic, to right at the height of the pandemic in April of 2020, you get close to 90%. But I don't think anyone listening or hearing the vice president talk would say, well, that's because of their policies. That would obviously say because the world shut down pretty much in April of 2020. It's a severely cherry-picked number. If it's right at all, he's never explained where it's come from.
Right. And, you know, that's great reference there, because there are some arguments going the other way. The claim of the additions to the federal debt by the Trump administration, some of that, a good chunk of that, was the emergency spending on COVID. So the pandemic impacted a lot of these facts. But let me ask about former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley's targeting Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis on stage. She said, quote, "Ron DeSantis is against fracking. He's against drilling." Now, that's a mortal sin in the Republican Party. Is she right?
Well, she has most of the facts on her side, and it's kind of a mortal sin to be from Florida and support fracking and support drilling. So Ron DeSantis has been kind of walking a tightrope here. As he campaigned for governor in Florida in 2018, he actually promised on his campaign website that he would ban fracking, and promised to do it on day one. So if you remember that interaction between the former governor, Nikki Haley, and Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley said he did it on day two. And in fact, that's right. He issued an executive order saying he was essentially directing all the agencies under his power to try to ban fracking. Now, the legislature has kind of not really accomplished that, but it's not because Ron DeSantis didn't want it to happen. Now, today, if you asked him, he would say probably something like, well, I wouldn't want fracking or oil drilling to happen close to Florida shores, but it doesn't mean I'm against it totally. But Nikki Haley has a point here, that he said something when he was campaigning for governor that's a little different now that he's campaigning for president.
Yeah, definitely. That'll happen to a lot of governors. So finally, aid for Ukraine, right? That is a topic right at the center of our politics. And last night, a businessman, Vivek Ramaswamy, said, quote, "The reality is just because Putin is an evil dictator does not mean that Ukraine is good. This is a country that has banned 11 opposition parties." What do you make of that claim?
Well, so Vivek here is sounding a different tone than some of the other candidates on the stage, essentially saying we should think about retracting or from the fight between Ukraine and Russia. And he brings up this point that, you know, maybe Ukraine isn't a good democracy either. I'm not really going to get into whether it's a good democracy, but on the 11 political parties, Vivek Ramaswamy leaves out a really important detail. So those parties were banned. They were all pro-Russian parties. And the biggest one, which held about 10% of the seats in the Ukrainian parliament, its leader is actually a guy named Viktor Medvedchuk, who has close ties to Putin. And actually, Putin is the godfather of Medvedchuk's daughter. So you might listen to what Vivek said and said, that's a good sign about Ukraine. But when you have the further context, you might say, well, that kind of might make some sense if Ukraine's fighting a war with Russia, that it might take some action against Russian political forces working in Ukraine.
Like some of the censorship in this country during the Civil War that Abraham Lincoln approved of. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Aaron Sharockman, thank you very much for that.
Thanks, Terry.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.